What up, dog?
Oh, X gon' give it to you.
Oh, that was a good song. God rest DMX. That's way to bring up that sad thing.
I know. Sorry.
You have to talk now. I'm indisposed.
Well, I mean, we already did our Quiet Place 2 reviews, but we mentioned that it was a pretty big weekend, and the other side of that coin was Cruella from Disney, their new live action adaptation. You know, the thing they've been doing for these last few years, and just
Last like 10 years now, really, if we think about it. Like, it's been a while. So, and like, this is a movie. I'm not gonna lie. I went into this not wanting to like it. And I rarely ever do that, just because, you know, it's because I love Disney stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah.
They've been very hit and miss with their live action, specifically like Maleficent, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. There's been a lot they've kind of, and within those movies that they don't do well on, they get things right, and but it's kind of overshadowed by the things they did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The only couple I've really liked have been just Cinderella and Jungle Book, and
yeah. I think those are the two widely ones that people acknowledge are actually good movies on their own. The other ones, you know, I guess your mileage may vary. I know for a lot of them, I'm just like a little more just whatever on.
Yeah, Lion King was the biggest disappointment for me. But
oh my gosh, yeah.
This one, I love 101 Dalmatians. I grew up with that movie. Like, I hope everybody did. So, and I'm a dog person. So why am I going to try and like a character that tried to skin dogs for a coat? You know, that was my mindset with this. And I'm not necessarily on board with trying to make villains heroes, or trying to justify certain things. There's only a couple villains that have become more anti-heroes over the years within like comics and stuff that I've been okay with, you know, like Harley and Black Adam coming up. I can understand them just because they have their selfish motivations that can do good things for people. But when it comes to movies like The Joker, that was an exception of like a villain that I really ended up loving in that movie. Or, you know, he was sympathetic. You know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah. You at least understand the motivations behind why they're doing what they're doing. And for the most part, with a lot of the Disney villains, you know, they're pretty cookie cutter. You know, they're generally they are cartoons and they are meant for children. So, you know, having these bad guys just be bad guys without like any real motivation, like, you know, like the person we're talking about in this movie. Well, the character that we know from 101 Dalmatians, as you said, all she did was we wanted to kill some dogs to wear as a coat. It's like, so that's really all the characterization she got, from that movie.
Yeah, and even in the live action remake of that one with Jeff Daniels and Glenn Close as Cruella DeVille, she was still a monster in that. Glenn Close did a fantastic job. I thought that was a really solid film. But this one, that was my mindset going in, so that's not a great way to go. I'm not saying it's okay to go in a movie not liking it, but holy shit, this movie took me by surprise. I did not expect to like the movie as much as I did when I saw it the other night. I'm tempted to really see it again. I actually may drop the $30 to just watch on Disney Plus, even though I have A-list, just because, you know, it was that good. It was very surprising. I can't say enough about it.
I remember texting you after I watched it, like, dude, this is actually a pretty good movie. Like, I was very entertained throughout the whole time.
I just thought you must be on crack.
You're like, I hate that movie. I hate that movie. I hate anybody that wrote that movie. It's like, you haven't seen yet, right?
Yeah, God rest Paul Mooney as well, Bern. Thank you for bringing up two characters, two great people in
hey,
our
man,
lives.
remember the dead, yo.
That's just you're just a terrible person for bringing that pain. Anyways, though, yeah, and I mean, when you said it was good, I was like, all right, maybe. And I did see a lot of positive buzz around this movie, so I was like, am I even gonna like this, or am I still gonna hate it? And is everybody just on a whole other level? And no, I'm jumping this train. This was such a great job, a great film, done. The cast, another, like how we praised the Quiet Place 2 cast. This is another one to praise. This was done so well. This is definitely Disney's best live action remake they've done, in my opinion.
Oh, you're saying like even better than Jungle Book and.
Oh, absolutely!
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not
that's
even
high
a
praise.
remake, but it's my favorite one. This is one I could rewatch no problem, and I would really like it. And I'm not much of a fashion person. I've never seen The Devil Wears Prada or anything like that. But
You
this
haven't?
is the movie I've been.
Don't lie.
I've never seen it. No.
Oh my god, you're missing out.
That's
a
with
great
Anne
movie.
Hathaway and oh my god, I can't think of her name right now.
Go on. You're almost there. It's on the tip of your tongue. Emily
Hold
Blunt's
on.
in that one too, which funnily enough.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, I did hear about her being in it. Oh my god, what's the actress's name? I can't think about it. She's one of the best actors of all time. What's her? Just tell me what's her
That's
name.
okay.
I can't think.
We'll get. That's besides the point, to be honest.
Answer my question first. Who was that actor in Devil
I
Wears
just
Prada?
gotta let you simmer on that for a little bit.
I gotta Google it. I'm gonna Google it while we're doing this. I can't do it. This is gonna bother me. It's not Helen Mirren, just because that doesn't.
No,
sound
it is
right.
definitely not Helen Mirren. But I mean, I agree with a lot of your sentiments here, where it's like,
Meryl Streep.
There you
That's
go.
God damn it. It was right there. Anyways, keep going, though. So.
yeah, I mean, the cast is great, and the movie itself was very surprisingly entertaining. Like the movie had like a really good energy about it, where the whole time I was just like on board with what was going on, even though as you did, I was going in with already some preconceived notions, even though I try not to. It's hard not to with these Disney live action remakes, just because we've been getting them for like the last few years, as you mentioned, and they just keep disappointing. And this one was not disappointing at all, which was very surprising. So I had a great time with it.
Yeah, like I said, no. So we both went into this as fools, and we came out as knowledgeable men. Okay, well, so let everybody should know, this is also a non-spoiler review, just because it is on. Even though it's on Disney Plus, you still have to pay for it. So within that respect, we'll just keep it simple for everybody. And like I said, let's start with the cons, the things that we did not care for.
Well, what was your rating first?
Oh, that's fair. I know I gave Quiet Place Part 2 5 out of 5. This one I'm going to give definitely a strong 4 out of 5. It was again being the best live action remake, like live action Disney adaptation they've done. It's like this is great. I can't say enough about that. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with 4 out of 5 for this one.
Nice. I guess as I was in the Quiet Place 2 review, I'm not quite as high on it as you are. I will give it a 3 out of 5. Still very much positive review.
You're just a goddamn hater. I can't stand you right now. What is your problem?
I'm just hard to please.
I'm gonna go Tammy 2 on you. Just what is your problem? Nothing's changed, has it?
But I had a great time with the movie. It's not without its issues, of course, but it's very much tries to do something new, which, unlike the other Disney live action movies, is a rare thing.
You have your issues. That's your problem. But again, since you had the low rating, you could take this one away again. What things did you like about Mr. Negative Man?
Well, I mean, I think for one, the movie is a little bit too long. I mean, it clocks in at like almost 2.5 hours, which I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie does not need to be this long. Rarely do I say that, to be honest, because I do like longer form storytelling, and I do like longer movies. I mean, I raved about the Snyder Cut earlier. That was 4 hours, so twice the length of this one. And over the past weekend, I did watch all the Lord of the Rings extended versions, so those are like 20 hours a piece.
You're just freaking hater.
But for this movie, I thought that the length did work against it at times. I thought there were some beats that got a little bit repetitive at certain points. Not to get into it because that would be spoilers. But yeah, I thought there were points where I was like, okay, we already got something like this, or let's move on to something new. But yeah, that was one of the negatives for me. I don't know if the movie overstayed its welcome for you.
Really thinking about it, not necessarily. I think maybe there were only a couple parts that dragged on where they could have gotten a little more straight to the point, but it wasn't an issue for me because, like I said, unless the movie was super boring or anything like that, I thought the pacing was fine with it. But but I could see that there were a couple parts I was like, okay, did we have to Drew, we could speed this up a little bit, but keep going. What else got to you?
Yeah, the other thing that got to me, this is a little bit more of a nitpick with the the CGI dogs that are prevalent throughout the movie. Maybe it was just one of those things where on the technical side, they thought it would be easier to just use CGI dogs instead of having to use actual animals and work with them. But at some points I was like, okay, this is kind of taking me out of the scene, or this is just a little bit too much. Where I'm like, their dogs are just sitting there. Why couldn't you have real dogs? It was just one of those things. Like I said, not really a huge negative, more just a nitpick where I was just kind of like, why was that decision made?
Yeah, no, that I can agree with. I was kind of like, I mean, again, Disney is great, getting fantastic with their CGI. Like, they do well in their animated films and stuff like that. And like the Marvel universe has done great with CGI. But for the live action, their CGI has been very hit and miss. This one, it was great, but yeah, I do agree. It was a little too much of it. And it was almost unnecessary just because of the whole story and stuff like that. But,
yeah.
And then this one, I'll just kind of say for the both of us. I mean, you can expand on it because I know this was a little more for you than me. It's just like, as much as I love the soundtrack for this movie, because it had a lot of great songs that I just jammed along with in the thing, I kind of thought there was a couple parts where I was like, okay, this is a little too much of like the heavy, like the popular music. Kind of like in Triple Frontier, where it's like the first half was just some great classic songs, and I thought, why do we need this many? You could just keep it with a simple score or something else going on. So
yeah, I would even go as far as to liken it to the soundtrack for the first Suicide Squad movie, where at points it just kind of overpowers the movie. Not that movie was good anyway, but it just, I guess it worked similarly, where it's just the soundtrack was just so prevalent throughout. And like you, I did like the songs that they used, but at certain points I was like, okay, we can tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, so just, you brought up the Suicide Squad. It's like, oh, burn, that's a low blow to David Ayer, but he's been very hit and miss with his stuff. So
that's his doing.
Yeah, a little. It's him and Warner Brothers doing on that one. I will definitely say he's not completely to blame for that. But anything else like to not necessarily nitpick, but maybe to critique?
Yeah, I thought the movie started off a little bit rocky, where the beginning scenes I was just like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to like this movie. Already, maybe it was a factor of I was already coming in not expecting to like it. So maybe that influenced my initial viewing when the movie's just starting off. But I did watch it again, and I thought that the opening of the movie was a little bit not too great. And I'm so glad that the movie really picked up after the initial first few scenes, because the way it started off made me a little bit nervous about where the movie was going to go, but I'm glad to have been wrong about the rest of the movie.
For sure. And on that note, let's get into the positives on this movie. And again, this being one of the best movie weekends so far of 2021, this had another solid cast with, Emma Stone as the lead Cruella DeVille. Emma Thompson too, which I didn't think about until I saw an article. It's like, oh, Emma's and the two Emmas of Stone and Thompson. I was like, oh, That's right, they have the same name. She was a great character again, like the Devil Wears Prada, where she's like a fashion mogul, and the Baroness, as they call her, which is just horrifying. It's like, oh shit, what is she, a Nazi or something? But a little bit like a fashion Nazi.
Yeah, she wasn't an oil baron; she was a fashion baron, but she still crushed her enemies.
And then, they had some newcomers like Joel Fry, which he was in Game of Thrones, but I don't remember him in Game of Thrones.
You're right. Yeah, he was in Game of Thrones.
Like I said, I kind of had to look up his IMDb page because I've never heard of this guy, and I don't even remember in Game of Thrones. There was a lot I don't remember about that show just because I think the final season really just erased my memory of that. And then this guy's becoming one of my favorite actors right now, Paul Walter Hauser. 100%. The first thing I ever saw him in was Kingdom, the show with Frank Grillo, Jonathan Tucker, and I think it's Nick Jonas, one of those Jonas brothers.
Yes.
Where it was like the UFC show, and he was kind of like a guy out on parole essentially, or like a mentally ill guy kind of out of prison sort of thing. And then it had some other characters, like Mark Strong was a great like side character for this. So I was like, oh shit, Mark Strong. Like I like Mark Strong as well.
Yep.
So it was cool to see him. And then also another shout out I have to say, another great cameo was Kevin Novak from What We Do in the Shadows as Nandor.
Yes.
He was in this movie. I'm not going to say as who, but it was a pleasant surprise seeing him. And yeah, like I think that my two favorite ones out of this whole movie, as great of a job as everybody did, it's gonna have to be Emma Stone and Paul Walter Hauser, because as like Jasper and Horace, you never really think about them too much in 101 Dalmatians. It's always like Pongo, Perdita, and then Cruella in that movie, like the dogs and her. But those two stole the show as Cruella and as Horace. Like he was so funny. He did a good English accent, at least to me. I'm sorry, to anyone who's English or British. I do a terrible accent.
His accent was really good. I mean, as far as my American ears can tell.
Yeah.
I'm sure people from over there will be like, nah, it wasn't that great.
We're a bunch of uncultured swine out here in the Western Hemisphere.
Absolutely.
But they stole it for me. It was such a Emma Stone did such a great job of making her so. You make her understand Cruella and almost rooting for her in this movie. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it anymore or try and spoil it for anybody. So. Oh yeah. And then Paul Walter Hauser is just hilarious.
Yeah, for me, the two who stole the show easily were the Emmas. Both Emma Thompson and Emma Stone. So everything with them in the movie, especially the scenes that they shared together, were some of my favorite, if not my favorite scenes of the movie. They were just they worked well, so well. Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous how they did their back and forth was, and how they were always like coming at each other at certain points. It was great. I loved their relationship. I loved their scenes together, and I think that them two are easily the highlights of the movie for me. If it weren't for their two central performances, I probably wouldn't have liked the movie as much, but the fact that they are in here makes it so entertaining.
Yeah, their battle of wits throughout the film was pretty fun to watch, mm-hmm. and like a mentor-mentee kind of thing was great. And I'm going to say also that the set pieces to this one, I know like we were talking about The Quiet Place 2 and how it had great set pieces. I don't know why I keep comparing them. I guess just because these are some of my favorite movies so far this year. Yeah, they came out the same weekend, and these are some of my favorite movies so far this year, besides like the Snyder Cut, Army of the Dead, and Without Remorse. I'm just kidding. To that last one. I had to keep talking.
Those who wish me dead, you said it wrong.
But yeah, like there were some parts in this movie I was like, oh shit, this looks cool. Like, mm-hmm. Again, the fashion is so confusing to me and so weird, because there are some things that people produce and it's just like, what? How is this thing cool or like nice and something? I don't know. But there was some stuff that, Emma Stone rocks, and the locations they were at just looked awesome. I can't say, like, it really not only spoke about the characters, but it's almost as the setting was another character in this movie, more so than some other films have done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole, all the technical side of the movie was great. I mean, and especially the setting and the set dressing, the costuming, everything that went into the making of the movie. I thought they did a fantastic job on it. Really set you within a certain place and time, and the fashion that they used was just it was so great. I was like, I like you. I was like, man, I don't know why everybody likes this stuff, but I can appreciate just the effort and the work that went into all these things, because it looked great.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. And I guess my last thing, just to round it out, would just be that this is the one movie they had a lot of fun with. You could tell that the writers and the director really turned Cruella from like just a cold-hearted, one-sided villain, and really just made her more three-dimensional, more likable, mm-hmm. more understandable. And it was just so edgy in certain things, just because this took place in like the 80s, 90s era, where it was like things are starting to becoming 60s, a little more progressive. Or 60s, whatever it is. I don't know. It's in the past. Let's just stick with that.
It's in its own time.
And oh yeah, no, it was definitely like 60s, 70s ish actually. But the fact that it took a lot of liberties and a lot of, choices, I was like, interesting. I didn't think Disney would be okay with this, but I respect some of their choices with the characters and the designs and stuff. So, and like I said, this is my favorite live action Disney they've done in a long time. Like an adaptation of a character.
Yeah, and I think the easiest one to compare to is probably Maleficent, and that's one of the other live action remake that did focus on a villain of the past movies, where that one made decisions that I made you kind of scratch your head and wonder why did they go in this direction. This one very much worked in favor of the central character, and that being Cruella. How, like you said, it does flesh out her character and it gives her real motivation, and it doesn't it makes you empathize. It doesn't make you really sympathize with the things that she does do, because I like that they didn't make her a very like a hero, or even like an anti-hero. She's still very much a villain, I think, in the movie. It's just that she's she's playing off of another villain, so it just goes to which villain do you side with, and I thought that was a really good choice to make, where they didn't just make her seem like again like the hero, where if she were to appear in a 101 Dalmatians movie, you'd be like, why is everybody hating her? She's such a good person. It's like, no, she's not.
I would say maybe she's not necessarily a villain either. She was just more human. They definitely humanized her just because she's so complicated. Where it's like she has her villainous moments, but she also has her pure-hearted moments and stuff. Like it's just they did such a great. Like I said, they just did such a great job of layering her. But if they do make a 101 Dalmatians, like another live action, I would definitely be scared for the dogs with her, just because. Again, Emma Stone was just so captivating to watch this movie. I'm kind of tempted. I can't wait to see it again, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job, and I'm happy to say that, because I don't want to come out of a movie and hate it like I've done for a lot of the Disney live action movies, and this one very much so was entertaining, and I think that's because it did have a point of view, and it wasn't just rewriting a story that was already been done and better in the past. It was very much charting its own road, and I thought it did that really successfully.
Absolutely. But anything else, Bern, you want to add into this, or will that do it for you?
Yeah, just Mark Strong needs to be in more movies, like Cillian Murphy.
Mark Strong does need to be in more. He was another great addition to this film. Maybe not necessarily a bummer as he's not a central character, but it's like he needs to get back into doing more stuff. But anyways,
and Wink was the MVP.
Yeah, we're not going to say who that is, though, because he's not necessarily...
No,
that's the only thing we're going to say, Wink, yeah. Mm-hmm. You guys will find that out when you watch it.
Absolutely.
Like we said, it's in theaters everywhere. It's on Disney Plus Premier Access, so you do have to pay the $30 fee to watch it. But then you get to keep it, especially since you have the app. So
it's not just like a 2-day rental. No,
it's like you're buying it. But... I definitely recommend this. This was a solid weekend. Mm-hmm. I don't know any other movies that can really top it at this point until we see a movie that tops it. But besides that, that'll do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys go out and see these movies. Stay bodacious and keep on ranting.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Absolutely, my dude. I'll talk to you later, homie.
Adios, brother.